All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the interview section. And like you say, we've been having fun during the break, but I'm going to throw it right back over to Ricky.
Well, I'm going to tell you, some of these stories the Bull is telling us during the break are just priceless. And we're going to try to get some of them on the air as we go along here today. But, yeah, Manny Fernandez, man, thanks again so much for having you back here on the program, man. It means a lot to have somebody with your level of experience and your time in and just your history. I mean, the legendary status. You're the Raging Bull, man, and it's just great that you're still around and you're still out there making things happen. Now, you've recently started running this Trans-South over in Union, and you're doing some training for that too, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're doing a lot of things. Charlie Wessel, or Charlie whatever's one of them, and a couple other students coming out there to the fairgrounds in Union County.
Yeah.
And Trans-South's just a little thing that Derek Vanderford thought about. Now he's got Cole McAfee involved and me involved. And we're trying to get something going. It's quality. There's a lot of independents that everybody knows. There's a lot of independents out there that are trying to get on the scene as pro wrestling. And, you know, I understand that the talent quality is not always to the level that it should be when you go out there and put on a poster pro wrestling.
Right.
You got to be at that level. When you decide to be a pro at something, you better be good enough to back that up.
Absolutely.
That's what I always believe.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do at Trans-South.
Bull, tell me a little bit about your philosophy on training a new person in this business. What is your idea of how they should be trained, and how do you go about training them that way?
I've always trained people this way. I know if they have a quality background, ever competed in anything, doesn't have to be football, wrestling, baseball, basketball, all that kind of, just competed, tried something, judo, anything like that. If you have that knack of getting on a mat and being able to go 10, 12 minutes without breaking down, being exhausted, puking all over yourself, then you might have the talent to go ahead and be trained as a pro wrestler. But I just start with basic fundamentals. Everything I learned as an amateur wrestler. Learn how to get on the mat on all fours, learn how to do stand-ups, learn how to wrestle, learn how to tie up, everything like that. That takes a lot of time. People don't understand it. Just to learn the basics of wrestling, it takes 2 or 3 months to be really good, that you could do it off the top of your head when somebody yells it out. You know, in a second, to jump on it, boom, do a switch, boom, do a fireman's carry, boom, do a top wrist lock. Some guys don't even know what that is.
Absolutely.
You know, they say a wristwatch, okay, I'll get a wristwatch.
Absolutely.
You know,
goes back to the Terry Hogan thing, right?
So every guy, even when I started paying Blackjack Mulligan back for what they did for me in '79, him and Dickie Murdoch and Terry Funk, as started on Barry when Barry was going on the road with me. As Barry was hauling the ring around, I'd get in the ring and work with Barry. Same thing with Barry. It took a long time for Barry. Even when he finally came, when I ended up in Florida, finally Barry got to that stage. He showed up there too. That it took about a year worth of training to get that psychology. See, a lot of people get in a ring and learn all this stuff that I'm teaching you. But if you got zero psychology, then you're zero nothing in that ring.
I want you to talk a little bit more about that, Bull, because a lot of people, 90% I would say of these trainers, so-called quote-unquote trainers out here today, don't even know psychology first off, much less how to teach it. How do you teach somebody the wrestling psychology? Because, man, I've tried, and some people just cannot pick it up.
It's everything you do in that ring is a purpose. There's a purpose to do something and a purpose not to do something. Everything, the greatest legend to me, the promoter, president of NWA, which a lot of this crap, a lot of people, I'm going to work for NWA. No, NWA died when Eddie Graham died. Eddie Graham was the greatest president of NWA. He was the greatest controller of all the territories to keep a world champion and keep all the territories hot, wherever every good talent would go around and take his turns at the territories. All the talent. He was the greatest thing in my mind that taught me that talent is like painting a picture. You got to be a Picasso. That picture's got to tell a story and why he's doing that. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Anybody can lace up and get in there, get somebody to say, "Oh, well, you trying to do this." But then when you ask them why you doing it, they have no answer to that. There's got to be a rhyme and a reason to do that. That's why psychology is so hard for people to understand. If I'm going to call something that ring, it's got to make sense why I'm doing it. If I'm going to go against an opponent, I'm going to say, "Hey, God, he's 6'6", 300-some pounds. Okay, now I got to learn how to chop him down like a tree, so people believe that I'm chopping him down, taking over, and cutting this big man down until the time is right for him to beat me up."
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing. I think in all of what you just said, I think you encapsulated it perfectly when you said it's got to make sense. And that's something, man, that I've tried to tell people over the years. If it don't make sense, why do it? I've always been a big psychology guy, and some of this, if there's even a portion of it to me that doesn't make sense, I won't do it. You know, I mean, why go through that motion and make people what was that? Because even if it's small, people will pick up on it. because the psychology's got to be there for it to make sense and to go, like you said, to go from A to B.
Right, so like back in the day when I started, you snatch a hold, you work that hold, like the Anderson did, like Dory Funk did, like all them great wrestlers did.
Yeah.
I did, everybody. Sure. That made sense because you're trying to rip tear down some part of the body.
Right.
You do now. You got these. I don't hold nothing against Ring of Honor. A bunch of young, good-looking kids, but man, they come off like they're doing the floor exercise at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Blip, 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 blip.
Yeah.
And people got to understand, wrestling fans are different than any other kind of football fans. They concentrate on what's going on in that ring.
Yeah.
And if you blow it by them, they don't know what happened.
Right.
But if you sit there, slow down, and show them what you're doing, try to force the guy down and try to tear off his arm, then they enjoy that. Yeah, tear it off. They enjoy that.
Absolutely. We had Davey Richards on here in our first year of doing this program. And Davey, really good guy and understands the business. But that first Ring of Honor, the new show, you mentioned Ring of Honor, the new television show that they've just put out, this carried more and more stations. He was on there, and I watched their match, man, and whoever he was working, I don't even remember. They did about 10,000 spots in this match. They're going 100 miles an hour from start to finish, and I'm thinking, yeah, it looks good, but it don't make a lick of sense. Nope. And what story have you told other than I can do all this stuff?
That's their only story. They do go out there and do the gymnastic moves and do all that stuff. That's cool. They're in great shape to do that for 10 minutes. Yeah. Great thing. But, I mean, the people, real wrestling fans don't understand. Like Ring of Honor, I hope they hang in there. Yeah. I don't know. I've watched a couple. I mean, I hope anybody that's trying to get out there where young kids can learn and go places to wrestle and make a little bit of money will survive. But a lot of this stuff, honestly, from what I've seen, I don't think it'll be around much.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to that storytelling thing, man, because in it, basically you take all the gaga away and you take all the extraneous stuff away. Wrestling is still, in its prime form, should be storytelling.
That's right.
And if you're not telling a story, which those guys, to me, didn't, again, it's just, okay, you're doing all this just to show me that you can? Is that what I'm supposed to glean from this?
That's exactly what I feel like.
Yeah.
And I go out there and look at them and go, wow, okay, you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I can shoot you and backhand you so hard you knock your teeth out. What's the difference? I mean, if I want to, it's like I said, Kirk Angle could beat you in a gurney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not far from that.
Yeah.
If I want to, it's like a guy told him, well, I could just show you how you can stick your head out and won't have a good time breathing for a long time.
Right.
It's just tough to me as anything else.
Yeah, Bull, let's talk a little bit more about the current products that are out there. Of course, we just talked about Ring of Honor and, of course, WWE TNA. Are you following any of what's going on now nationally?
No, the only reason I even brought up Ring of Honor is because my boy Homicide is one of the big stars. Everybody knows I train Homicide.
Right, yeah.
And he's always giving me props for this and that. And he honors me by doing a lot of my moves and I taught him and stuff.
Right.
That's the only reason. I've never watched wrestling. Mm-hmm. And it's a funny thing about me. I didn't inspire to be a pro wrestler. Mm-hmm. I inspired to be a pro football player.
Yeah.
And pro wrestling came to me. They came to me.
Right.
I didn't go to them. And I never watched wrestling, never kept wrestling. Nothing wrestling in my house. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I did my job, came home, that was it.
Yeah.
Wrestling ended there.
Really?
Once I left the Coliseum, wrestling ended there.
Yeah.
I went out bar hopping and stuff, it ended there. But, people get stupid, they got knocked out. That wasn't my fault.
Excellent point, and a good place to stop. We're up on a break, Manny. Always entertaining stuff coming from the Raging Bull. We're going to go to break right now. When we get back from the break, Thomas Simpson was in here a few weeks ago and had some words to say about you, and I think that might have gotten back to you, and we're going to talk about that when we get back here next with Raging Bull Manny Fernandez on Inside Wrestling Radio.